Hey everyone, thanks so much for joining me for Chronicles in Collecting, where we're going to open the Riobot R-2 from Super Robot Wars Original Generation. This figure came out in May 2022 and retailed for 22,000 yen in Japan and $210 in the US. So today is going to be the second part of the Riobot SRX from Super Robot Wars Original Generation. We took a look at the first figure earlier in the week, and I liked it quite a bit. I thought it could maybe have had a little bit more accessories for the price point, but it looks like the second and third probably have a little bit more going on, so let's see. So this figure is definitely beefier than the first one, and it definitely has more accessories. Obviously, I don't think it has like the transformation gimmick that the other one has. Obviously, it could transform into the full thing, but that's probably why this one might have more accessories. Let's see if I can clip this back on. There we go. So yeah, this is a nice figure. It's actually pretty cool. It's like very, as you can see, very beefy. A little shorter than the other one, but I like it. Let's see, does it have the opening? Yeah, it's got not quite. It opens up a little bit over there, but not like the full heavy arms or whatever. So let's see. And then, like I said, this one has. This looks like these are probably some sort of like shoulder-mounted shields. I'm assuming, I have no idea what these are. Some sort of shoulder-mounted weapons. This looks like a transformation part for the big combined form, just based on the size. But I could be wrong. It seems like this figure has a lot of the parts for the like combined one. You'll see with the weapons in a second. Yeah, so you got these like giant arms, which are obviously too big for the figure. Some extra hands. All right. And then let's see what else we got here. So I think the one thing that really yells out the most is this giant sword. Here's the giant hilt for the giant sword. And then here is the giant blade for the giant sword. So this thing is obviously super big. Kind of look here in perspective, about twice as big as the base figure and bigger than my humongous head. So that's obviously really cool. And then I'm guessing that this gun is also for the huge figure. I mean, just judging kind of by the size, maybe not. Probably not, actually. I think that might be a little too big for it to hold. I guess we'll find out. And then, like the first one, it also comes with a base. I actually don't like this base as much as some of the other Riobot ones, because the other Riobot bases were huge, but you could at least sort of break the edges off, not permanently, and then just use like a smaller base, like what they did with the Godzilla ones, which I really like, because it's like, okay, listen, if you want this big beefy base, but it's really hard to kind of find a spot in your shelf to take up this entire thing. I guess maybe if you're going to put all three of them on the same base, but this one's way too big for my liking, but I'm not going to be posing them on my shelf separately, so I guess it's kind of a non-issue. Anyway, so I'm going to pose this guy. I don't think there's a ton to do with him, but we'll see, and I'll be back with some final thoughts. So yeah, a lot of mixed feelings on this one. I had a lot of trouble with the kind of shoulder-mounted cannons. So it kind of has this like very, very, very thick metal joint, kind of something like right off of a Metal Robot Spirits. and I guess like I had twisted it to the right instead of twisting it to the left, and it made it basically impossible to get the cannons on, and I just like couldn't figure out what the heck was going on, and I took basically the entire figure apart, put it back together, could not then finally realized kind of what I had done, but it took me quite a while. Outside of that, the figure transformation wasn't too bad. Um, this is kind of one of those figures where I feel like, you just kind of push it in and then everything kind of falls apart. At least on mine, one of the legs was a little loose. I guess it comes apart for a different transformation. So it's like every time I pushed a peg in too hard, that fell out. Which was which was pretty annoying and just sort of made everything worse. I will say that the metal joints for the arm, for the shoulder-mounted cannons are very good. Give a lot of movement. That's good. I think the figure is of nice quality. I've been messing around with it and futzing around with it. It really doesn't look all that much worse for the wear, so that's good. I really like how they do the hands on these. Instead of kind of using pegs, they kind of use this almost like little keyhole that kind of lines in. I think the quality on these is pretty good. The only place you really see some paint, overlap is if you take off kind of the gauntlets, but you'd never naturally do that. You'd only do that during transformations. So I think that's fine. Everything that's kind of visible looks good. Was not able to work in that cool gun. I probably could have, but I was kind of already getting a little fed up with putting this thing together. But looking forward to the third one, which will hopefully do its transformation a little bit more smoother, and the final SRX, which I'll take a look at next. And one other final thing I forgot to say is I would be questionable if this thing could stand without its the stand arm. These top things are very, very heavy. And the legs are not like super sturdy, but it does come with a stand, so I think that's fine. And probably without the cannons, I don't think it would be a problem because it's not super heavy without it. Anyway, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, I'd really appreciate a like or subscribe. If there's something you want to see with this figure or something else, let me know in the comments and I'll see what I can do. Going into October, we're going to have new Gundam, and then I'll probably do a bunch of Gundam unboxings to sort of celebrate, so keep an eye on those. Still figuring out the exact dates based on when everything airs and kind of when I can get a hold of it to do my review. Anyway, thank you so much and keep collecting.